we'll get started. So I'll just start by going through some of the chart updates that I've put in. Obviously, we had this little formation that I'd drawn. Price didn't go down as low as what I had drawn, but I was optimistic, or at least hopeful, that the lighter orange trend line was going to be held, and it didn't even get touched. Did get close, but it didn't even get touched so far. Still could come down to there, but it seems unlikely now that we've made a new all-time high. It would be unlikely to see that low at 66.8 get broken. But it's not to say that it can't get broken, and maybe I'll pull up the chart so we can just have a quick look as to why. So it is a key low on the daily. We got that just joined us. Morning, Mystic. Good to see you, bro. Hope you're doing well. So it is a swing low on the daily. But if we were to go out to, say, a weekly chart, the weekly chart, it's a bit hard to. It's definitely not a swing low on the weekly chart. Arguably, you'd probably say that this low here at around that 58, 59K is the major low. You could, I suppose, plead a case for 65 too, but if anything, it's still sort of intact with the move up. So from a weekly perspective, it definitely could come back down. However, it does seem a bit unlikely, and that would be, I think it would need like a multi-week downtrend for it to get down there, and I'm not quite convinced that we're finished moving up just yet. And, we'll be looking at around about a 20% plus drop to get down there. So it definitely seems unlikely, but if it did happen, I wouldn't be surprised at the same time. So for now, I think Nomad's prediction is order. It's looking pretty sweet at the moment. Good morning, Star. Hope you're doing well. I've just started going through some of the posts that I've put up in the chart updates channel. This is just the Elliott wave. We've now got a confirmed start to the fifth wave. The fifth wave does start at the low of the fourth wave, which was down at 49K. That 49K does mark the low for the fourth wave, but you need to wait for the confirmation that is the low is breaking to new all-time highs. So we only got that confirmation this week, which is, what's that, about 2.5, 3 months, 3 months after the fact. Moving on. So this is just me being probably a little bit silly, but the idea is that we find a high within the next sort of 24 to 48 hours type of thing. I'll probably give it up until the 11th of November at the absolute latest before we start to see a bit of a change of the trend. So the trend's been up clearly. And my idea is that we're going to start to see a bit of a pullback and a bit of sideways through until around the 20th to 22nd of November, which is where you see the final move down, and that's sort of wicking out all the longs before then running up. So the idea is that it builds up liquidity, liquidates the longs. So the long liquidations might get up to 400 mil, at least 250 mil plus, but it'll probably get to around 400 mil at least, and clears out that leverage, and then it continues on up towards to run out the remainder of November. And that's just using those seasonality dates that we touched on a little while ago now, of around the 10th of November and the 20th of November being those sort of key pivots. The lines in the middle is just to make it look sort of pretty. It definitely does not have to follow that whatsoever. I mean, we haven't even found a high yet. It could go higher than what I've marked. It may not reach where I marked. Well, I suspect that it probably will get there, and probably very, very soon with rate decisions coming up, and then JP's got his speech in about 45 minutes, I think it is. So there's rate cut in 25, and then JP speaks in just under an hour. I'm not sure what's going on with Discord today, guys. It's not letting me share my screen. My screen's disappeared now, hasn't it? Maybe I'll just continue a little bit without having the screen share. At the moment, I'm just going through the Borgie chart updates. The next part is when I'm talking about alts getting a little bit of breathing room. So we've had a fourth attempt at the 640 to $650 billion mark on total three. Typically, when we see a fourth time break, if volume comes into it, it can be seen as a genuine move, and it typically gets a fair bit of volatility coming into it, and it can move really quickly. And that's sort of where it's at the moment. The only sort of issue that I saw is that there was a high at around that 660 bill mark, which then led into the low in August, which is going to probably provide some resistance. And so far, that is what has been happening. But hopefully, it's just a bit of a pit stop, and it gets over it, and then it can really get the rockets fired up. We've got the Bitcoin dominance, and it's come up to the top of the rising wedge. So it was expected that we were going to get a bit of a drop in the dominance, and that did come to fruition. I think when I posted it, dominance was at around 60.8%, and now we're just trading above 60%. We did get as low as 59.8. It doesn't mean that we're going into alt season. This could just be a bit of a pullback after the crazy run up that it's had from 58%. Some early signs would be that it fails to get back up above. Let me pull up the chart. That it fails to get back above 60.5%. I'm pretty sure I posted that back up in the group as well. It can get to 60.5, but I want to see it fail from that point and then start to fall back down. So it looks like we're starting to head up that way at the moment. So we'll just have to see how that plays out, but I'll keep you guys updated nonetheless. But I think for alts, they're gonna start coming into their own over the next probably 4 weeks, 6 weeks, something like that. So it is pretty exciting. And we also saw a pretty decent run by Ethereum. Again, this can be just a pity bounce. It's got a lot of work to do against Bitcoin. As you guys might have seen in my updates, there's that range that it's got to get back above, which is around about another 8% move up from where it is currently. Against USDT, it's right in sort of like the sweet spot. It needs to get above that 2,900. To be precise, it's around 2,880, but we'll just use 2,900 for round numbers. Once it can get above that 2,900, I think it'll really start getting its skates on as well. Did anyone have any questions about Sweat and some of the stuff that you guys may have been reading me post about it here and over in their Discord? I probably don't really want to go too much into individuals or about the project and what they're doing, but it's probably more about price, tokenomics, that sort of stuff. If you guys had any questions about that, does everyone here understand how the inflation works, the inflation rate, and that sort of stuff? All right, so I was around. It was a number of months ago. I thought that I would try work out what the inflation rate of Sweat has been over a 12-month period. And so what I did was I got the market cap of Sweat on July 17 in 2023, which was 38.5 mil. Then I got the market cap of Sweat at July 7, 2024, and the market cap was 46.9 mil. The reason why I chose these dates is the price was pretty similar on these dates. So it removes the price being a factor in the equation. The price was a little bit higher in 2023 than it was 2024, but it was, fairly negligible. And so to work it out, I did the market cap of 2023 divided by the market cap of 2024 times 100, and that gives you a percentage. Now, back then when I did this, the percentage was sitting at around 22%. And what I've come to realize is that when these the 1.8 billion tokens have been getting burned, that actually reduces the circulating supply. It's been getting updated on CoinGecko, and in turn that also reduces the market cap. So the problem that I faced is that the market cap that I took from 2023 still included those tokens, because the burns happened from that point on. Whereas the market cap from 2024, it excluded 1.73 billion tokens. And the point is that these tokens were used to offset tokens that were getting brought into the market to effectively have as no change to the circulating supply. Now, we can go down the rabbit hole of why I have an issue with that, but I think most of you guys have got a pretty good understanding. So what I did was I went back, got my figures, added the 1.73 billion tokens to the 2024 market cap. And when you do that and work out the inflation rate, it actually comes in at around 67%, I think it was, which does go a long way to sort of explaining. So yeah, it's up until July this year, there was 67% inflation over that 1 year period, which is pretty massive, and it goes a long way to explain why the token has probably been struggling a bit. I mean, there is a lot of other factors around as well, but that sort of inflation level is not sustainable in any way, shape, or form. So yeah, I suppose it's just providing a bit of clarity. You do with that what you will, or don't do anything at all. I'm just getting the data together because we do lack that sort of information being shared to us over there. So you are sort of left to your own devices to try work it out work it out yourself. This is quite frustrating, and I can't share my screen. All right, moving on from that, we saw that Dixie had also peaked out. Maybe I'll post a chart in the chat so you guys can see. I'm so sorry that this is basically fucked. So I've posted the Dixie chart in the chat. See, it's gone up, touched the top of the channel, and it has since rejected. And we haven't even got the rates cut coming yet. I mean, I don't know if they're definitely going to cut, but if they do cut, I would expect the US dollar to weaken a bit further again. All right. Hopefully it stays like this. So this is the channel I've zoomed right out on the daily. I have had this up for a little bit now, and you can see it's come up, touched it nicely, and is now rejecting. I really don't need to be adding to my bags anymore. And I saw the opportunity to get back into Aussie dollars at a decent price. So yeah, currently, I don't have any USDT left in any of my wallets, bags, anything at all. I'm just sitting in Aussie dollars and crypto, more or less, in this regard. Unfortunately, we're going to move on. SPX is gapping up. It's sitting at 5,965 points. It's going pretty wild on this breakout, to be honest, and it has left a huge gap down to that around 57.80 mark. Yeah, it's like 100-point gap, which is pretty damn huge. Normally see these get filled. So I think once it does, probably over the next couple of weeks, we should see this sort of roll over a little bit to come back and fill at least part of these gaps that it is leaving. But yeah, it's gone bonkers since Mr. Trump won the election, and leading into Trump winning the election as well. The pump sort of started the day before. Nasdaq, it's going crazy as well. I'm pretty sure it has. It's reached new all-time highs today. It was lagging against the SPX a little bit, but the Nasdaq does move quicker in both directions than the S&P. So it's no surprises to see it now starting to sort of push to the front again. Something I did want to touch on was the liquidations that we saw on election day was crazy. It's actually been the most short liquidations that we've seen for. I'm not sure how many short liquidations happened when we hit the all-time high back in March, but it's the most shorts that have been liquidated ever since, at least. They're in excess of crazy numbers. 400 over 400 mil in short liquidation, pretty huge. Normally the short side we don't as get as high on the liquidations. 150 to 200 mil thereabouts is a pretty bad day for the Bears. But to get up to 430 mil is pretty damn high. On the flip side, even the longs copped it too. There's 185 mil in long liquidations, so it was extremely volatile day, and it should have been expected. I mean, the election only comes around once every 4 years. Um, the whole world stops to watch it happen and who gets in, etc., etc. And so yeah, it's just a crazy amount of volatility, and Trump got in, obviously, and the rest is sort of history. We went straight to all-time highs. So we'll just wait and see how this continues to unfold over the coming days. Like I said, I do expect for a top to sort of come in the next sort of day or so before we do get a bit of sideways market moving forward. Looking at near, and I suppose you guys have seen all these chart updates as well, but looking at near, it is looking not too bad on the BTC chart, which is the most important one. Like, we've got the breakout, we've had dominance running rampant essentially, and near actually started to sort of flip a little bit before the dominance started flipping to the downside, which is what we wanted to see. We wanted to see a bit of strength come in. And I'll post the chat so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So we can see it's come down, tapped that 786 perfectly, closed back within the wedge trend lines, and has had a little bit of a bounce since. Don't want to see that 786 get broken. That's probably the most critical point here. Even if we do get a little bear rally from the dominance, or even the dominance continues up to new cycle highs, we need Sweat to sort of get a bit of strength here. I could draw an 886 fib, which would come in perhaps around that 4,500, 4,500 Satoshi level. It's 45 Satoshis. I don't know. I'll get confused with all the zeros on the side. But anyway, we really don't want to see it break down much further than where it is right now. So for now, quietly optimistic for NIA, and quietly bearish on Bitcoin dominance as well. But it has been up for such a long time, like the dominance. It's hard to go against something that has been so clinical in its uptrend. But everything has to flip at some point, and it might be a flip for 12 months or 6 months or 3 months, but everything has to flip at some point, and I think the dominance is pretty damn close. So sweat from a price perspective, I don't have to say too much here. It is a bit fairly underwhelming against Bitcoin. It's broken right down again. I'll post a chart up for you guys. Now, this was to be expected. This was to be expected because we did have the anniversary jars unlocking this week. I think it is. I think my one actually unlocks in like 2 days' time, but I got a feeling I was a bit late to the party of locking up some sweat for that. So there was definitely going to be some sell pressure come in as all of those jars unlock. And it was interesting that we actually had pump leading into the unlocks. We see that quite often. Maybe not necessarily with staking unlocks, because you don't really hear too much about staking unlocks, but definitely when there's big linear vesting unlocks in other projects like your ApeCoin, your Sui, ARB, all those sorts of things. When they've got an unlock coming up, they typically rally into them. And then once they've unlocked, they start to taper off again once that sell pressure comes in. And we sort of saw something similar for Sweat here. So Sweat, it really wants to hold on to these lows and not put in some lower lows. All right, so with Solana, we saw that we had this bit of inverse head and shoulders playing out. We got the breakout, and then on the pullback, it's retested that breakout, and it's bounced significantly since, putting in another high locally on that, maintaining that trend up. It's looking really strong, I think, for me, and I think it's only a matter of time before it gets a new cycle high. That $210 resistance that we have seen previously is looking like it's gonna get broken. Volume is right up as well, which is good. We want to see volume on breakouts. When you get your volume coming in, it suggests that you've got a genuine breakout happening. No worries, Zenon. Thanks for jumping in. So Solana is looking super strong at the moment. And I'll just have a look at against Bitcoin. So against Bitcoin at the moment, it's broken out from that black trend line, which was resistance. Does have a little bit of overhead resistance coming up, but that's more than fine because it's been putting in higher lows, and so the fact that it's been putting in higher lows means that there's more likely chance that it can put in a higher high here. It might take a little bit longer. It's not fresh air moving up. It does have some points to sort of contend with. I have marked out the next two areas that it wants us to start getting over. It's looking good to me. It's still within it. It never lost its channel, moving in an uptrend, looking really strong. My only thing for Solana is how high can it actually go against USDT, because it's already got a huge market cap, and as we know, once you remove Bitcoin and even Ethereum from the pool, Solana's up there. I think must be like number 4. It's definitely in the top 5 of tokens. So for it to get a 2x, it's probably going to be moving up a spot. If it gets a 3x, it could be challenging Ethereum. Yeah, it's already pretty heavy. So I think what this sort of shows me is that it's a low risk bet, but it's also going to be a low reward bet as well. It's probably got less area to grow from a value perspective. But how the charts look, it's undeniably quite bullish. I wish there was a lot of other charts that were looking like this, because it does definitely look strong. It's just once you start taking into account its market cap, where you can start to get a little bit slightly iffy, I suppose, particularly in the crypto world, where getting a 10x, 20x, 30x, they can be fairly common. I definitely don't think there will be a 20x or 10x for Solana this cycle from its current price point. Like, I definitely don't think it's going to $2,000 or any of these crazy numbers. What have we got? So Bitcoin's still holding up pretty good. Dixie's sort of tapering off a little bit. I think the markets are looking okay for now. Look, guys, I'm really sorry about today and how it sort of panned out for the voice chat. I'm going to be doing some digging. I'm going to do some digging today, actually, to find out what's caused that, if it's going to be a problem moving forward, and if it is, what we can do instead. And I think because it was a fairly poor VC, I'll try hold one early next week to sort of make up for it. Yeah, we may look at potentially even doing two next week, maybe one early in the week and then one towards the end of the week. So I think for now we might call it there. But if there is any charts that you guys want me to sort of analyze and whatnot, just chuck them up in the premium chat. I'm always happy to take a look. Or any questions outside of charting, just about tokens or what do I think of a project, all that sort of stuff. Always just post it up. I'm more than happy to look at it at any time. And if you don't feel comfortable necessarily doing it in the premium chat in front of everyone, you can always just flick me a DM as well. No problems there too. So, all right, guys, enjoy the rest of your day if there's much time left in it. If you're starting a fresh day like I am, hopefully it's a great day for you. But otherwise, I'll speak to you guys early next week and within Discord between now and then.